Good morning. We are going to be starting. This is a 2-day lesson for lesson 24, and we are going to be working on day 1. Make sure that you watch the Eureka video before you start this because we are moving into something a little different today where we are going to be decomposing both tens and hundreds as you will find out after you watch Mrs. Quinn today. All right, so your word problem about Sammy having 114 note cards and he used 70 of them. How many unused cards are left? You can do this problem very easily if you think about what we did yesterday. So you can go ahead and do this problem. First off, if you think about what we practiced yesterday, where we were taking away from 100. So yesterday's lesson will help you be able to very easily solve this equation. Once you finish with that, then you are going to come on and make sure that you give a word answer for your word problem. And then we are going to be looking at what we're going to be doing on the lesson 24. Hanging on just for a second. You are going to be doing problems 1, and that's an A. The A1 has 1, 2, 3, 4 problems that you need to solve, and B has 1, 2, 3 problems that you're going to need to solve. And you are also going to be doing problem number 2 and using your place value disc to help you with that, solving these problems just like we did with Mrs. Chin. And then your exit ticket will be letters E and F. So those are the pages that you are going to be doing for today's lesson. Of course, sending your exit ticket to your teacher. When you get finished with that, the exit ticket is going to your teacher, sending to your teacher. And continuing on. So I am going to ask you to pause the video and then make sure you watch the Eureka math video before you attempt to do this. You could probably do, you can do the word problem today even without the video today because this one is based on yesterday's math lesson, so that one should be very easy for you to do. And I'm going to ask you then to pause the video, watch the Eureka video, do the word problem, and then come back and do just this page with E and F, problems E and F down here being your exit ticket. So go ahead and pause the video. Okay, are you back? All righty, so let's go ahead and take a look at how you did on these 4 problems. You were supposed to use mental math when you're solving these, but if you could not solve them mentally, you can always use your place value chart and your place value discs because you will need them for this lesson as well. All right, so 25 take away 5 should have been very easy for you. That would give you 20. So 25 take away 5, so 5 ones from 5 ones is 0 ones with 2 tens left over. 25 take away 6, I could break this apart into 5 and 1. So 25 take away 5, you know, is 20. Take away 1 more gives you 19. So I can break that apart, almost do it mentally, but if you have a little bit of trouble with it, go ahead and make yourself a number bond. Now this time we have 125 take away 25. 5 ones take away 5 ones is 0 ones. 2 tens take away 2 tens is 0 tens. We have no hundreds to take away, so we have 100 that is left. Now thinking about this problem is very similar to this problem, but I can also break this apart into 1 and 25. So basically I'm redoing this problem again. 125 take away 25 gives me 100. If I take away 1 more, I get 99. Hopefully that was not too tough for you. We're going to come down to problem B. Easily done here. 160 take away 50. Well, that's just like 6 tens take away 5 tens gives me 10 tens. No hundreds, so I know that's going to be 110. And 600 or 160 take away 60, well, that's going to be easy because I've got 60 and 60. That leaves me with 100. And if I break apart 160 take away 70, I'm going to break this apart into 10 and 60 because I already know that when I take 60 away from 60, I'm going to get 100. Then I'm going to take away 10 more and get 90. Most of that you should be able to have done in your head mentally. If you were having a little bit of problems, it would be okay to either use your place value chart, which we're going to do here in just a couple of minutes, or you could break it apart into a number bond to make it easy for you to be able to solve the problems. Now, I will tell you for the next 4 problems, you need to have your place value chart. So hopefully you've got your place value chart ready to go, and you also have your place value discs that you are going to need for the next couple of days. I know you saw those on Mrs. Chin's video. Hopefully you have those ready to go because you will need them today. So the first problem that we are going to be solving is problem A, which is 124 take away 60. 124 take away 60. Now, one thing that I need to be careful of as I'm working this problem is I need to pay attention to whether or not I'm unbundling 100, and I also need to pay attention as to whether or not I'm going to be unbundling a 10, because you will have to answer, well, you should have already done it, answering those questions as you go through. So let's go ahead and take a look at 124 take away 60. So the first thing I need to think about is I got that up high enough that you guys can see that. I am going to need to model the number that I am going to be taking away from. So I'm looking at 124, so I'm putting out 100, 20, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to count that to just to be short. 100, 110, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124. So I am also going to be thinking about whether or not I am going to unbundle. I'm going to write this down because we're going to have to do this on each one of these problems. Do I have to unbundle 100? And did I unbundle a 10? We're going to be doing that on each one of these problems. So that's the big question that I'm thinking about as I work this problem. So I'm going to start in my ones, and I'm going to ask myself the question, can I take 0 ones away from 4 ones? So I've got 4 ones here. Can I take 0 ones away from that? Well, I hope you said yes that you could, because I could easily take 0 away because I have 4. So once I've decided about what's going on with the ones, then I'm going to come over to the tens. I've got 2 tens here, and I have to ask myself, can I take 6 tens away from those 2 tens? Well, I'm hoping that you're shaking your head no, that you can't. So I know for sure that I am going to have to unbundle 100. So I'm going to say yes, I'm going to have to unbundle 100. But did I have to unbundle a 10? I did not. So I know that I didn't have to unbundle a 10, so the answer to that is no. But I can see that I'm going to have to unbundle a 100. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to take that 100 and I'm going to put it in my hand, and I'm going to count out 10 tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So I've got 10 tens. Now that I have unbundled that, I am going to put it over into my pile, because all I did was make an exchange or unbundle that 100 for 10 tens. Now I'm going to ask myself the question again, how many tens do I have? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got 12 tens, and I see that right there. So can I now take 6 tens away from 12 tens? Well, I'm thinking that I can. So I am now completely set up and ready to go to start my subtraction. So taking 0 tens away, or excuse me, 0 ones away from 4 ones would leave me with, would leave me with 4 ones. So I've taken care of my ones. And now I am going to ask myself, can I take 6 tens away from 12 tens? And I absolutely can do that. It doesn't matter which one I'm going to take, but I'm going to start at the top. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or 6 tens. And I'm looking to see what I have left after I take away those 6 tens. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens left. And am I going to be taking away any 100s? Well, I don't even have any 100s over here anyway, so I know that I am not going to, because I exchanged that 100 for 10 tens. So I know then that I had to unbundle 100, but I did not have to unbundle a 10. And my difference would be 64. Okay? Hopefully you saw that. I'm going to be writing them down also in each place value so that I can keep track of what I'm doing. So now you're going to erase your board. I'm going to erase my board. You're going to erase your board. I'm going to clear my board, and so are you. We're going to clear that board. But I'm not going to lose this question because I'm going to have to ask it on each problem. Now I'm moving on to problem number B, which is saying 174 take away 58. And I know the first thing that I need to do is I need to set up the number that I am going to subtract from. Here we go. I've got 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, and 170, 171, 172, 173, 174. So I have 1 100, 7 tens, and 4 ones. 1 100, 7 tens, 4 ones. I know that I'm going to start in my ones by asking the question, can I take 8 ones away from 4 ones? Well, that answer is pretty straightforward. I cannot. So I know that I am going to have to unbundle a 10 in order to have enough to be able to subtract those 8 ones. So I'm going to take a 10, put it in my hand, and I am going to exchange that or unbundle that or decompose that for 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now that I have exchanged that, unbundled or decomposed, I'm going to put that off to the side. And I'm going to come over to my tens and ask the same question. Can I take 5 tens from 6 tens? Because now I have 6 tens left here. I am going to take, can I take 5 tens from 6 tens? And the answer to that question is yes. So do I need to unbundle 100? Nope, I'm not going to be unbundling 100 because I have enough tens to be able to do that. Now that I have looked at my ones and I've also looked at my tens, I am ready to subtract. So 8 ones from the total number that I have now, which is 14 ones, I can now take 8 ones from 14 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ones from 14 ones leaves me with 6 ones. Okay, so there's my 6 ones. And now I'm coming over to my tens. I'm going to be taking 5 tens away from 6 tens. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that leaves me with 1 10. Now I have 0 hundreds, but I have 100 left here. Can I take 0 hundreds away from 100? Well, I certainly can, and that leaves me with 1 100. So I know when I'm finished doing all of my unbundling or decomposing, I still have 116 pieces left. So my difference is 116. Yes, I had to unbundle a 10 to do that, and no, I did not unbundle 100. All right, I hope you're feeling pretty comfortable with this. If you're still feeling a little bit shaky, you might want to go back and rewatch the video one time. And if you didn't get those first two right, I would strongly suggest that you do that. Now I'm going to move on to problem C, which is 121 take away 48. 121 take away 48. And I'm doing this all on my place value chart because at this point, that's what I'd like you to be doing, is all of your figuring on your place value chart. So let's go ahead and set up the number that we're going to be subtracting from, which would be 121, 100, 110, 120, 121. All right, so I'm going to be asking myself those questions again as I work through this. Am I going to need to unbundle 100? Will I need to unbundle a 10? Okie dokie, here we go. So I'm going to start with my ones. I have 8 ones, and I need to take that away from 1, 1. Can I do that? Can I take 8 ones from 1, 1? Boy, I hope you're shaking your head and saying no, that you cannot. So that means I'm going to need to, yes, unbundle a 10. So here I go. I'm going to hold out my hand, take a 10, and I'm going to decompose it into 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I have decomposed or unbundled that 10 for 10 ones. And before I go any farther, I'm going to ask myself that same question about my 10s. Can I take 4 10s away from 1 10? 4 10s from 1 10? Boy, I hope you said no, which means I am going to have to unbundle 100. So I'm going to take my 100, hold it in my hand, and I'm going to exchange that for 10 10s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 10s is the same as 100. So I now have decomposed or exchanged or unbundled that 100 for 10 10s. And now I'm going to ask myself that question again. Can I take 4 10s from now 11 10s? I think I can probably take 4 10s away from 11 10s, knowing that I had to unbundle a 10 and 100. So I'm coming back to my ones, and again, I'm asking myself the question, can I take 8 ones away from now 11 ones? So let's go ahead and say, well, I certainly can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That leaves me with 3 ones. So I've got 3 ones here, and now I'm ready to come over to my 10s and ask the question, can I take 4 10s from 11 10s? Well, I certainly can, because I've already decomposed 1, 2, 3, 4. So they have now been taken away from 121, and that leaves me with 7 10s. And I have no hundreds that I'm going to take away, but I also don't have any hundreds left on my place value chart because I had to unbundle 100. So as I look at this, I see that I have 7 10s and 3 1s. 121 take away 48 is 73. All right, we've got one more of these that we're going to do before it's going to be time for us to go take a look at our word problem, and also for you to be able to do your exit ticket. So I'm going to erase my board, and you are welcome to work along with me if you're struggling just a little bit. Our third problem, problem D, is 125 take away 67. 125 take away 67. What is that going to equal? So I know that I may or may not need to unbundle a 10 or 100, so I'm erasing. But I do know that I'm going to have to ask that question every time. As before, we're going to start with our whole, which is 100, 100, 110, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126. So now I have my whole, and I'm going to start in the ones and ask myself the question, can I take 7 ones away from 6 ones? 7 ones away from 6 ones. Well, I don't think so. There's not quite enough. I only have 6, and I need to be able to take away 7. So I know for sure that I am going to have to unbundle a 10. So yes, I have to unbundle a 10. I'm taking that 10 and I'm going to decompose it for 10 ones. Here I go, holding it in my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 and 10. So now that I have those 10s exchanged and they're unbundled, I'm going to move this off my chart and see that now I have a total of 16 ones. I definitely can take 7 ones away from 6 ones. But before I do that, I need to come over and check my 10s. Can I take 6 10s away from 1 10? 6 10s away from 1 10? Well, I'm hoping that you're shaking your head and saying, nope, can't do that. So I know I'm also going to need to unbundle a 100. So I'm going to hold that 100 in my hand, and I am going to unbundle and exchange that 100 for 10 10s. I'm just going to get those in my hand. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, not quite enough. I got to get another one. And 10. Oops, flipping them all over the place today. So once I have unbundled or decomposed this 100 into 10 10s, I can now move it off my place value chart and see that I now have 11 10s. So I know that I have enough to be able to take 6 10s away from 11 10s. So I had to unbundle both 100 and a 10. Coming back to our ones, I'm seeing that I have 7 ones. I'm now going to take those 7 ones away from 16 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got that. And let's see, what did that leave me? Hang on here just a second. Well, you know, I was just kind of looking ahead here, and I can see that I made a mistake on this particular problem. I did not write it down correctly. It should not be 126. It should be 125. So I'm going to go back because that's what I got to do. I made a little boo-boo, so I'm going to go back and fix my boo-boo. So we got to go back. Sorry about that, my friends. I just realized that I had a little mistake, and I'm not going to have that. So it helps to be making sure that you're being careful and writing things down correctly, which I did not. So let's try this again from the get-go. This is problem D, and now I have it written down correctly. And I'm sure there were some of my friends at home who were saying, Miss Starr, you didn't write that down right, but I can't hear you. So I had to figure that one out for myself. So I have 100. 10, 120, 121, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So 125 is my whole. I already know that I cannot take 7 ones from 5 ones. I can't take 7 ones away from 5 ones. So I know I still am going to have to decompose a 10. So I'm going to take that 10 and count out 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now instead of having 5 ones, I now have 15 ones, and I can exchange that or decompose that 10 for those 10 ones. And now I'm asking myself, can I take 6 10s away from 1 10? Still can't do it, so I am going to have to decompose a 100, putting it right here in my hand, and I am going to exchange that now or decompose 100 into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, I'll bet you I'm going to make this work out right this time. I hope I am, because that's a little embarrassing, but I do make mistakes from time to time. Well, more often than I would like to admit, but that's okay. Mistakes are a part of learning. All right, so now that I have done all of my exchanging where I had to decompose a 10 and a 100, I am now going to take 7 ones away from 15 ones. All right, here we go. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That leaves me with 8 ones. Okay, so now I have 8 ones, and now I'm asking myself, can I take 6 tens away from 11 tens? I'm pretty sure that I can do that. 6 tens away from now what I have, which is 11 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That leaves me with 5 tens. And I already exchanged that 100, so I don't have any 100s to exchange or decompose. So I have now 5 10s and 8 1s. And I did have to unbundle a 10 to make that happen and unbundle a 100. I'm going to give myself a big smiley face because I found my own boo-boo and fixed it. And I apologize to you if I made that difficult for you. I'm sure I had lots of people going, Ms. Starr, you didn't do that right. And yep, you're right, I didn't. All right, so with that, I am going to erase my board. And I am going to move these off of here so that we can now go to the word problem that we should have done probably before we started this, but I got a little bit discombobulated. So I am going to again show you that these were the problems that I did on my place value chart, and I'm hoping that you also work those 4 problems strictly on your place value chart and you did not do the standard algorithm or the chip model, because that's not what we were going to do. So now let's go ahead and go back and look at our word problem. So here it is. This was very, if you were paying attention yesterday, this would be a very easy one to do. Sammy had 114 note cards. He used 70 of them. How many unused cards did he have left? So I'm going to start with my whole, which is 114. That's how many cards he had. Note cards. And there were 70 that he used. 70 that he used. And we're trying to figure out how many note cards did he have left. Okay, how many note cards did he have left? Well, I'm going to set up my equation. 114 take away 70 equals how many I have left. I'm going to use take away from 100 as my strategy. I'm going to use a number bond with 100 taken out of 114, which leaves me with 14. And I am going to subtract easily 100 take away 70 equals 30. Now I'm going to take my 2 parts. I'm going to take 30 and add that to my other part I haven't used it yet, which is 14. 0 ones and 4 ones is 4 ones. 3 tens and 1 10 is 4 tens, giving me a total of 44 note cards that were not used. There were 44 note cards not used. There are 44 unused cards. Oops. All right, there you go. Now that was an awful long lesson today, and I apologize for that. But anytime you're working with the place value chart, the lessons are going to be a little bit longer. Hopefully you had a great experience with that today. And don't forget to send your exit ticket to your teacher. And you have yourself a great afternoon of learning.